Hello, my name's Alex, and this is going to be a demonstration of an Advent 300, part of the Advent 300 series. And what we're labeling are these white containers with a booklet label. And this label is a integrated booklet, very thick. You can see there. And we've already done some testing, and it works well. It feeds on very nicely. There is a little bit of occasional distortion. This was just our first one, and what happens is because this gives so much, there might be the occasional where it doesn't lay down flat. So I just wanted to point that out. We'll see how the rest of these go, but there is that possibility because it's not, the booklet gives so much. It kind of bubbles up. We have the machine all adjusted. I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. And as you can see here, the rollers are spinning. You can see here we have spinning rollers. There is a warning about that being a pinch point, but generally it's just insert, and then there's a little bit of a delay, and then that label goes on very nicely. You see there? And I'm just going to go ahead and do more of these. We've attached some encapsulating springs on the overhead pressure arm. And that's just because we're trying to get that label, that booklet, laid down as flat as possible. As you can see here, it automatically triggers the label. There's no air, no sensor to worry about. Just as quickly as you can insert it and take it out. And I'm going to stop right here. Let me just review them. As you can see here, goes on very accurately. We have probably a less of a 1/16 of an inch from that shoulder on the top and the bottom. You can see it just does a really nice job of putting that label on. Again, because this is designed to be removed, I think that's a little bit of the construction of the label, and it's just a limitation that you're probably going to have to deal with. You can see here. It goes on very nicely. That's the leading edge, very taut, wraps around there very nicely, and then it only distorts just because that tab gives right here. Now I do want to point out some other things on this machine. Originally you were interested in the Advent 310, which is our push-through version of this labeling system. So essentially that type of labeler allows you to insert, take another container while that container is still through there, and push it through the machine where this gets ejected. Based on various conversations, you weren't comfortable with that, and you weren't comfortable with the spinning rollers. So what I wanted to do right here is kind of give you a demonstration of how an Advent 300 would work with the interlock system. So the interlock system essentially puts two thumb locks on the side of the machine, and it will not feed a label until you put your thumbs simultaneously in those two thumb locks. So what the operator has to do is turn on the machine. The machine is, the rollers are impossible to move. They insert the container, and then they would hit the thumb locks. And when they hit the thumb locks, it would turn on the machine. And as soon as they remove the thumb locks, it would turn off, and then they could take out the container. And I would imagine the operator would work at about, probably about 12 containers per minute. So it would be like this. Insert. And of course, because it is an interlock system, sorry, I did do it on the last one, it's completely impossible to put your hands when the machine is on. It's an interlock, so those rollers cannot move and cannot be defeated unless you have both hands in the interlock system. So that's kind of a demonstration of how that works, the interlock system. And then what I'm going to go ahead and quickly do is show you a changeover. So the neat thing about the 300 is that it's completely adjustable from about a 1-inch diameter container to a bleach type container. We could adjust the different diameters by turning this knob right here. We could go up to almost an 8-inch wide label. This is the peel bar where the label is separated from, so you have a lot of flexibility there. This is your label supply that you can move left and right. And all your guides are just simple thumb locks. And the overhead pressure arm is just adjusted with the included Allen wrench tool. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is adjust for this diameter container. So I'm just putting it there. Just going to slide my rollers over, my guides over. And I've pretty much already nailed the adjustment of the diameter. I could bring it down a little bit closer, but we just want it hovering over that peel bar. And then when I do that, I can adjust my overhead pressure arm. And the reason why we adjust it is to put it in the center line of the label. You can move it left and right. You could disconnect these springs if you have to. And then I just want to have a little bit of a stop. And what that allows us to do is to insert the container without having to lift up the overhead pressure arm each and every time. And just to keep with, I can work it like this. And this is how people have been using our machine since 1989. Never been a problem. You see there? Very, very nicely. Again, you're going to have to be aware of that tab right there. Or you can use the machine in that kind of interlock mode. So put the thumb switches in, thumbs in, and then it would automatically, when you remove them, it would stop, and then you could take it out. So I'm just going to run it normally. And again, if you were to use it like a standard 300, you could probably do about 24 to 28 containers per minute. I also should point out that the white rollers are fully adjustable, so we could actually move them left and right to allow these guides to be adjusted and not hit any of these white tires. Also allows you to work with recessed panel areas. We have a built-in waste management that pulls up the waste material automatically. And as far as just switching out the labels, it's as easy as just popping out this mandrel and then threading the machine. It's pretty much of an open design, so very, very straightforward to thread the labeler. So any questions, we could reach at 800-846-7716. As again, does a really nice job on these booklet labels. Feeds through the machine well. The only limitation is just that little distortion on that tab. And I've actually seen customers that are able to get that tab to lay down a little bit flatter, and it might just be a design of that what type of an adhesive they put there. So again, that's the Advent 300. Thank you.